At the beginning of this film, we are introduced to Minunami, a very prominent businessman who has recently been released on bail from prison because he is accused of murdering his girlfriend Kim. Soon as he is out of jail, Minu calls his lawyer. To discuss the case, the lawyer needs all the details to fight this case. She questions Minu about what exactly happened that day at the hotel, how Kim died, and how the blame came upon him. Who called the police? Tell me everything in detail as the story unfolds in response to these questions. The story proceeds to show the day Kim was murdered. On that day, I went to meet Kim at a hotel. Minu explained that they were making promises to each other when suddenly Minu saw the police outside the hotel. Minu said that he was frightened. He just wanted to flee the place. But before he could leave, a man appeared. He attacked me on the head, causing me to lose consciousness. When I regained consciousness, I noticed that Kim was not in the room. I went to the bathroom and found Kim's body lying there. Before I could comprehend anything, the police came into the room and arrested me, thinking I was the killer. The lawyer, speaking to Minu, says, "You are not telling the whole truth, Minu. I have seen the police file and reviewed all the investigation reports. There was no sign of a third person in that room. Please tell me the truth about what you are hiding. I need to know everything." Minu remains silent for quite a while. Then the lawyer shows him a picture of a boy and asks, "Do you know this boy who went missing a few days ago?" Initially, I denied recognizing the picture. He initially declined to acknowledge him, but when the lawyer persistently urged him to reveal the truth, he commenced recounting the tale of this boy. The narrative took us back several months to when Minu was en route to meet his girlfriend Kim. Minu was a married man and had recently begun to feel remorseful about deceiving his wife. Due to this relationship, he informed his girlfriend Kim that he would soon terminate it. Upon hearing this, she became infuriated and lost concentration on her driving. She failed to notice the approaching car. Prior to the occurrence of the accident, Kim swiftly maneuvered their vehicle to avoid a collision between the two cars. In doing so, they succeeded in maintaining control over their own car, yet the approaching vehicle still ended up crashing. When Kim and Minu exited their car to inspect the situation, they observed that the other car was utterly wrecked. I proceeded forward, opened the door, and examined the scene. The boy inside the car had perished, and this boy was indeed the same one depicted in the photograph that the lawyer had been inquiring about. He was saying, the boy's name was Han. Minu explains that upon witnessing the girl's death, he was terribly shaken. He was about to call the police, but Kim stopped him, saying this, "No one has seen us on this road. If we call the police unnecessarily, we'll get ourselves involved in this case and our reputation will suffer. It's better if we dispose of the body somewhere ourselves and quietly leave from here." Just before they could dispose of Han's body, that is, the girl's body, a police car arrives. Upon seeing the police car, Minu was anxious again but didn't panic. When the police saw the accident car here, so they were asked what the problem was, and they quite calmly lied that there was nothing wrong. They said that they had an accident and had resolved the matter between themselves. This means they pretended in front of the police that the car involved in the accident was not Wuhan's but Minho's. In front of the police, they even called their car insurance company, which did not arouse any suspicion, and the police left. As soon as the police left, Minu was told to leave and that if she left, their relationship would end. From today, their relationship was over. What happened here would remain a secret. What will remain between us will be just like how our relationship remained a secret. As you leave, take Mahan's car from here. Minuhan took the car and left from there, while Kim went and sat in her car. However, due to the accident, the car wouldn't start. Fortunately, an old man passed by and asked if there was a problem. Kim told him that her car had just been in an accident and since then it wouldn't start. He tried to help by attempting to repair the car, but there was too much damage inside. The man said to Kim, "My residence is quite nearby. Should you desire, I am able to assist you." She consents to accept his assistance, and the elderly gentleman covers Kim's vehicle and transports it to his abode. After numerous hours of diligent effort, the benevolent man had entirely repaired the precious automobile. He states, "Your car is now repaired. You may depart," to which she felt immensely thankful. Prior to her departure, she noticed a photograph there and was taken aback. It was an image of Wuhan, whom she had fatally injured in the accident and subsequently disposed of the body. Now she was experiencing feelings of remorse. He killed him. His father helped him so much and was now eagerly waiting for his son. The former family uncle said to him, "Look, he left so long ago and my son hasn't come home yet." Meanwhile, he was also trying to call his son. Now, the phone in Kim's hand started ringing, which made her nervous. Because the uncle had also heard the phone ringing, she quickly put the phone on the sofa, and the uncle thought that perhaps his son didn't take the phone with him today. She then left, trying to cover up the situation, or perhaps to spend more and more time forgetting that accident. He started spending time with family and business, which is why his business growth quickly declined. One day, a police officer came to meet Meenu at his office and asked him if he knew anything about an accident that had occurred on the highway the same day he traveled. Manu clearly denied knowing anything about the accident. However, the police officer gave him his card, saying that if he remembered or found out anything about the accident, he should definitely inform him. A few days later, Meenu was shown having dinner with his wife. The news about the same accident started airing. In this news, a sketch of a woman was shown, which was none other than Kim's sketch, and the police were saying that the team responsible for this accident is being vigorously searched for. Khan's dad had given a statement to the police that he had met Kim on the accident road, and since then there was no trace of Kim, so all suspicions were against Kim. In the meantime, Meenu received a call from Kim asking to meet at a secret location. Without any delay, Meenu went to meet Kim, where her appearance was completely changed as I told her. I've cut my hair and changed my appearance so that the police can't recognize me. The game was only here to give Meenu Han's cards. She tells Meenu to change the details on his card so that people think he's a pauper and the police's attention is diverted from us. Meenu agrees to this, and after changing the details on all of Han's cards, he burns them as well. Now, when the police find the changed details on the cards during their investigation, they think Han was a fraud. They believe he was involved in some illegal activities and was putting on this act to avoid the police. The police? His wandering, not just his disappearance, seemed part of a plan. Thus, the case was closed and Meenu relaxed. As he focused more on business, it began to grow daily and profits rose significantly. Meanwhile, his dad made another request to the police. To find Han, he convinced them not everyone was a fraud. He showed them all of Han's old documents and said if the evidence is against Han, it surely means Han is in trouble. Yes, his dad asked the police to reopen the investigation. They must certainly search the forest where Han's car was last seen. Complying with Han's request, the police reopened the case and began the investigation. They even venture out at night to search the area thoroughly. Despite searching the forest all night, they found no evidence. The next morning, when Han's father returned home, he found his wife unconscious at the door. Perhaps she had fainted from exhaustion while waiting for Han. He picked her up and laid her down in the room. By now, he was exhausted. All of this caused him great distress over his wife's condition. It was very distressing. The scene shifted back to the present and we saw Meenu sitting in front of the lawyer. Meenu told the lawyer that on the day of their murder, besides Kim and himself, Han's dad was also present in the room. Han's dad first knocked him out and then killed Kim because he wanted to avenge his son's death. The lawyer asked why they implicated him in the case then. Meenu replied that it was because he hadn't told the truth. Although they didn't kill him, they did send him to prison to make him realize his mistake. Here, Meenu also tells the lawyer that Han's dad, along with Han's mom, was also involved. As soon as Han's dad left the room, she called the police and had me arrested. Hearing the whole story, she stood up and said to Meenu, "The story you told is completely different. Now I'll tell you the real story." The narrative goes into another flashback, showing that on the day Han's accident occurred, it wasn't the car but Meenu himself who was driving. The story he concocted about ending his relationship was all lies. That day, he wasn't paying attention on the road, which is why the accident happened. He died. Kim was fine here. In fact, it was Kim who wanted to call the police, but it was Meenu who stopped us from doing so that day because Meenu thought that if such a case came before the police, he wouldn't be able to make his name among the big business tycoons. However, Kim didn't care about her name. It was Meenu who forced Kim to do this. Even the plan to hide and dispose of Han's body was entirely Meenu's, and Meenu was so cunning. He played the entire plan in such a way that he himself. The case was under scrutiny, and Kim was getting trapped everywhere. Kim was deeply saddened by Han's death. The police pursuit began. The team had to hide their identity during that time. They had to leave, but even then, Kim's heart couldn't accept hiding the full truth. Eventually, one day, she called Han's dad and revealed everything. As soon as Meenu found out, he became furious and, in his rage, he took up a battle against Kim. Now, since the murder of Wuhan had also been committed by the team, amidst all this, he didn't want that. He even injured himself and fainted there, and then staged this whole drama that he was being forcibly implicated in his friend's murder case. As the lawyer was explaining the whole story to Meenu, his mouth was left wide open. He was astonished as to how Lohia knew the whole truth. However, Meenu had never told anyone the entire truth. Here, the lawyer reassures him, saying, "Don't worry, Mr. Min, I am still with you and ready to fight your case. But please tell me, where exactly did you hide Han and Han's car?" there was no other choice for him but to reveal everything. So, he admitted to the lawyer that he had put Han's body in his car and sunk it in a lake. Min-ho painfully confessed that when he went to dispose of Han's car, Han was still alive inside. He pleaded for his life, but Min-ho couldn't risk it. If he had let him go, charges would have been pressed against him. So, he threw him into the water alive, ending his life. The lawyer was shocked by this confession, as she hadn't known this detail. When Min-ho pushed the car into the lake, Han was still alive. He thought Han must have died in the accident. The lawyer was now thinking about how suspicious Min-ho was. He had killed a boy for his own benefit. The lawyer then placed a map in front of him and asked him to mark the spot where he had pushed Han's car. Min-ho picked up the paper and marked the spot. After marking it, the lawyer picked up the paper and began to gather her belongings. After gathering her things, she said to Min-ho, "Mr. Min-ho, I cannot take your case because you have hidden a very significant truth from me. He was alive when you hid him." Saying this, she left his house and started her car to leave, but then her car's tire got stuck in a pothole. Her car could no longer move forward. The weather outside was so bad that if she had stopped outside, she might have died. Min-ho then says, "If you wish, you can stay at my house." At this point, the lawyer agrees and returns to his house. Upon returning home, Min-ho notices that the lawyer's signature does not match the real lawyer's. Min-ho is now confused, and here the story takes an interesting turn. In reality, the woman who came here wasn't the lawyer, but rather Han's mother, Joseph, who had come to get a confession from Min-ho to find out where exactly Min-ho had hidden everything and Han's car. As soon as Min-ho realized this, he immediately attacked Han's mission. In the scuffle, they both fell, and due to head injuries, both lost consciousness. After a while, Han's mother was the first to regain consciousness. Upon regaining consciousness, she picked up a gun for her defense. For this situation, Min-ho demonstrates once again. He persuades Orhan's mother to discharge a shot at him and also contacts the police. By the time the authorities arrive, they are convinced that Orhan's mother attempted to murder Min-ho and subsequently detain her as a suspect. The police then place her in their vehicle. Once inside the car, she recounts the entire story to the officers and presents Min-ho's confession. Furthermore, she provides the police with the location where the body was disposed of, which she had discovered from Min-ho himself. The authorities have resumed the inquiry, and upon examining the specified site, they discovered Han's vehicle alongside Han's deceased body, which substantiated that the actual murderer was indeed Min-ho. Min-ho, who remained alive, was subsequently apprehended by the police, leading to Han's mother's release. Min-ho's professional life was utterly destroyed, and he remained in disbelief that all of this transpired due to the actions of two senior individuals. They formulated an exceptionally extensive plan against him. Not only did they uncover information about their son through him, but they also succeeded in having him incarcerated for life. Collectively, they had avenged their son's demise at the hands of Min-ho. Now, Min-ho understood that he would languish in prison for the remainder of his life. Ultimately, the parents were overwhelmed with tears upon witnessing their son Han's lifeless body, and thus, the narrative concludes.